We'll now call the Common Council meeting of June 3rd, 2025 to order. Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Haas. Lorik.
Here.
Ritz.
Here.
Marshall. Here. Gale.
Here.
Guzekowski.
Here. Everybody please rise for Pledge of Allegiance. We have our newest Eagle Scout with us. Would you lead us in the pledge, please? Thank you. Item 3 is approval of minutes from May the 20th, 2025. Everybody take a few moments. You're satisfied? There's no discussions, errors, corrections, or omissions? Motion, please.
Lorik moves to approve the minutes of May 20th, 2025.
Ritzel, second.
Roll call?
Alderman Lorik.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas.
And item 4 is recognition, and it's a council proclamation consideration of. Congratulations to Oliver Gaynor for receiving his Eagle Scout Award. Catherine?
Council proclamation. Congratulations to Oliver Gaynor for receiving the Eagle Scout Award. Whereas the conferring of an Eagle Scout is one of the highest awards that can be bestowed upon a Boy Scout. And whereas such award is an earned award in that the recipient must perform and successfully complete and pass the rigid requirements exacted to achieve an Eagle Scout Award. And whereas less than 4% of all Scouts actually achieve this goal. And whereas at a court of honor to be held at the Oschlager Dahlman Post 434 Legion Hall in Oak Creek, Wisconsin on Sunday, June 8th, 2025 at 1 o'clock p.m., an Eagle Award will be conferred upon Oliver Gaynor. And whereas as an Oak Creek resident and student at Oak Creek High School, Oliver was deeply committed to giving back to his community, and after consulting with several members of the Oak Creek Police Department, he chose to dedicate his efforts to 3 distinct projects within the department. And whereas Oliver researched and planned his projects, organized and successfully raised over $13,000 in funds and donations, which were then used to acquire necessary equipment and materials, and together with the support of numerous volunteers, contributed to a combined total of over 628 man-hours of labor. And whereas Oliver refurbished 3 outdoor picnic tables for staff use and removed, designed, and constructed a new bench located outside the main lobby entrance. And whereas for his 3rd project, Oliver assisted in dismantling the outdated open-air training facade structure, excavated new post holes, and constructed and stained a brand new 20 by 40 structure, which now serves the Department for Emergency Response, Canine, Drone, and various other training activities. And whereas the Oak Creek Common Council wishes to recognize this noteworthy achievement of Oliver Gaynor. Now therefore be it resolved that the Mayor and Common Council of the City of Oak Creek hereby extend their congratulations to Eagle Scout Oliver Gaynor for having an Eagle Scout Award conferred upon him by the Boy Scouts of America. Be it further resolved that this proclamation be spread upon the minutes of this meeting, and the city clerk be, and she is hereby directed to transmit a suitable copy thereof to Oliver Gaynor. Presented and adopted this 3rd day of June, 2025.
Thank you, Catherine.
You're welcome.
At this time, I'll invite up Parents Chief Oliver himself, if you want to say anything. Welcome, Oliver.
Thank you guys very much. I'm very honored to receive this award. It was truly a privilege to be able to give back to my community. I love this community. I'm honored to go to school here, to represent the school and sports in the community. So I was very thankful to be able to work with the police department and Chief Stecker. It was truly an honor, and I was glad to give back to the community. So thank you guys, and appreciate this award. Thank you.
Wonderful. Council, any words?
Congratulations, Oliver. That's quite an accomplishment, and one that nobody can ever take away from you. Good job.
Chief?
Good evening, Chief Stecker, Oak Creek Police Department. I just want to take a few minutes. I know it's hard to put things into a proclamation. We talk about that every time we have them up here, but Oliver, as you can see, is a very humbled old soul. Very respectful. What he came up with and had an idea for this, it was quite the undertaking. I wasn't sure if he was going to do it, but when I actually sat down and met with him, he brings with him a very cool confidence that is unlike someone of his age and of somebody that's much older and experienced. So I had no doubt when he came forward with his plan on what we were going to see in the end, and he definitely executed it with his determination, and a credit to him for everything that he went through to get to this point. It's not a easy task to become an Eagle Scout. I was a Scout myself, never made it to this level. There's very few that become Eagle Scouts. So I hope that, Oliver, you understand the Eagle Scout's gonna stick with you for the rest of your life. People are gonna know that, and you're gonna have to bring with it everything that you do. The previous chief, Chief Anderson, was an Eagle Scout, and we probably reminded him of that every week when we worked with him. So I know it's something that is going to stick with you, and it's definitely something that's earned. It's never given. So congratulations again, and thank you for the donation to the police department and the city of Oak Creek.
Now, Oliver, I've had the privilege of going out and handing out the proclamations to a number of Eagle Scouts here in the city of Oak Creek. And it really says a lot about the character of the city of Oak Creek and how strong our scouting program is when we have young people like Oliver stepping forward, showing this at this age. I mean, the numbers, $13,000, 628 hours into that. Think about a work year is about 1,500 hours. Young man on his own put in almost half a year into this for the benefit of others. The lessons he's learning, he's going to take with him through life. People ask me the best part about Oak Creek. I always say it's the people. This is a tribute to the parents. He's a reflection of his parents and the dedication and effort they put into their child, too. You should be very proud, folks, without a doubt. Oliver, as the chief said, this will be with you forever. If you've accomplished this at this age, wow, you're really gonna do some stuff. Let me tell you, they wouldn't even let me in scouting, let me tell you. And somehow I wound up the mayor. So big things are coming for you. So excellent. If there's no further discussion, motion on 4, please.
I'll move to award council proclamation number 25-01. Congratulations to Oliver Gaynor for receiving the Eagle Scout Award.
Marshall, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall. Aye. Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas. Aye. Lorick.
Aye. Once again, congratulations and thank you. Item 5 is a mayoral proclamation for Men's Health Month, which is this June. Catherine?
Men's Health Month, June 2025. Whereas Men's Health Month is a part of an ongoing international effort to educate men, boys, and their families about receiving regular disease prevention screenings and living healthier lifestyles. And whereas nationwide life expectancy for men averages 5 years fewer than that of women, with men experiencing higher rates of health problems such as diabetes, obesity, cancer, heart disease, and premature mortality. And whereas Men's Health Network is recognized for their esteem in the creation of maintenance and champion over national efforts of the officially distinguished Men's Health Month and Men's Health Week as established in 1994. And whereas Men's Health Month is a time for the public to recognize the mental and physical health needs of men and boys while encouraging fathers to be role models for their children through preventative health screenings, healthy living, and seeking needed help. And whereas the growing epidemic of suicide and substance abuse requires special effort to raise awareness of unrecognized and undiagnosed depression and mental stress in boys and men. And whereas the centerpiece of Men's Health Month is a National Men's Health Week, a special awareness period passed by Congress and signed into law by President Bill Clinton on May 31st, 1994, and officially facilitated yearly by the efforts of Men's Health Network. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Daniel J. Bakevich, Mayor of the City of Oak Creek, do hereby recognize June 2025 as Men's Health Month in the City of Oak Creek and encourage all to understand the importance of positive health attitudes and preventative health practices while increasing awareness of the importance of a healthy lifestyle, regular exercise, and medical checkups. Dated this 3rd day of June 2025.
Thank you, Catherine. Council, any words? No, another important thing to recognize, men's health is very important. Quality of life, particularly as we age. We have to do these things, maintain a healthy lifestyle, regular exercise. Medical checkups are key. So whenever our health department is offering something, please take advantage of that. It's not enough to have a philosophy like I had a few years back. I figured I'd live to 101. I had so many IOUs out to my wife, I figured I couldn't die before that. But it doesn't work that way. Diseases, health issues don't discriminate. So please regularly get checked. No action is needed on men's health. Item 5. Item 6 is a proclamation for LGBTQ Pride Month, and it is always June. Catherine?
June 2025, LGBTQ Pride Month. Whereas the City of Oak Creek cherishes the value and dignity of each person and appreciates the importance of equality and freedom. And whereas all are welcome in the City of Oak Creek to live, work, play, and every family in any shape deserves a place to call home where they are safe, happy, and supported by friends and neighbors. And whereas the City of Oak Creek denounces prejudice and unfair discrimination based on age, gender identity, gender expression, race, color, religion, marital status, national origin, sexual orientation, or physical attributes as an affront to our fundamental principles. And whereas Pride Month began in June of 1969 on the one-year anniversary of the Stonewall Uprising in New York City, after LGBTQ and allied friends rose up and fought against the constant police harassment and discriminatory laws that have since been declared unconstitutional. And whereas the City of Oak Creek appreciates the cultural, civic, and economic contributions of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, plus community which strengthen our social welfare. And whereas it is imperative that young people in our community, regardless of sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression, feel valued, safe, empowered, and supported by their peers and community leaders. And whereas, despite being marginalized, LGBTQ people continue to celebrate authenticity, acceptance, and love. Now therefore be it resolved that on this day, Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025, that I, Daniel J. Bakavich, Mayor of the City of Oak Creek, declare the month of June 2025 as LGBTQ Pride Month in the City of Oak Creek and urge residents to recognize the contributions made by members of the LGBTQ community and to actively promote the principles of equality, liberty, and justice. Dated this third day of June 2025.
Thank you, Catherine. Any words from council? No, once again, it is June and we always recognize Pride Month here in the City of Oak Creek, as these are our friends, neighbors, relatives, co-workers. And it is only right to recognize this group because they have been marginalized, and hopefully at some point in time they will be not marginalized and looked upon as just everybody else in the community. They're just caring peoples within our community. I wish them well. Please be proud, be happy, be prosperous, and be safe in the month of June. Moving on, item 7, mayoral proclamation recognizing Juneteenth 2025.
Juneteenth 2025, whereas on January 1st, 1863, President Abraham Lincoln issued an Emancipation Proclamation declaring that all persons held as slaves are and henceforward shall be free. And whereas the freedom that the Emancipation, should have done this one first, Proclamation promised was dependent upon a Union victory and initially only applied to 10 Confederate states, leaving more than 500,000 men, women, and children under Northern control and loyal border states in bondage. And whereas on June 19, 1865 in Galveston, Texas, 2 months after a Union victory and 2.5 years after President Lincoln first signed the proclamation, the last enslaved Black Americans were freed. And whereas, whether known as Emancipation Day, Freedom Day, Jubilee Day, or Juneteenth National Independence Day, Juneteenth is celebrated yearly on June 19th and signifies the day when enslaved African Americans learned of their freedom. And whereas this marks the 160th year of Juneteenth, the oldest known celebration commemorating the abolishment of slavery in the United States. And whereas, as we celebrate Juneteenth, the city of Oak Creek recognizes its significance and acknowledges the history of slavery, its ongoing impact, and the continued efforts towards equality and justice. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Daniel J. Bakavich, Mayor of the City of Oak Creek, do hereby proclaim June 19th, 2025 in Oak Creek as Juneteenth Day and urge all citizens to become more aware of the significance of this celebration in African and American history, dated this 3rd day of June, 2025.
Thank you, Catherine. Any words on Juneteenth? Once again, we recognize Juneteenth. You all heard the proclamation 2.5 years upon that presidential Emancipation Proclamation before folks were actually freed. That is far too long. We have to look back on our history, observe some of the things that have gone on and learn from them, but more importantly, never forget the sacrifices that went forward for future generations that those folks made way back when. So it's only right to recognize Juneteenth this June. So no action is needed on that. And before we go to our public hearing, I would like to introduce Kelly Schaaf. She is our new marketing communications manager. Kelly, if you would, please.
Hello. I am starting I guess this would be the beginning of my 3rd week here. And my background is in television news. I was an executive producer and worked on newscasts as a journalist. But my role here and my passion is really storytelling. And so what I want to start doing is really telling the stories of the city, both internally and externally. And so I'm super excited to start and start sharing stories.
Wonderful. Questions, comments for Kelly? Hopefully you've all had a chance to make her acquaintance.
I'm getting around eventually. I'm meeting most everyone, so yes, but.
Yeah, I have had the pleasure of working with her, and again, it's a different spin to our city. If you're watching the Facebook ads and everything going on within our marketing department, it's a different feel these days. And Kelly's going to be a really welcome addition to that going forward. So you will see some changes coming up to the current and the Acorn and those things going forward. So keep that in mind, and if your constituents asked, it's just a continual improvement process.
Absolutely, and just thrilled to be a part of the team and
Wonderful.
working here in Oak Creek. Thank you.
Welcome, Kelly. Okay, that will get us on to item 8, and that is public hearing and its consideration of a request to rezone the property at 10523 South Hall Avenue from A1 Limited Agriculture District to M1 Manufacturing. Catherine, would you read that in?
Certainly. Public hearing number 1 is to consider a request to rezone from A1 Limited Agricultural District to M1 Manufacturing District. Applicant, City of Oak Creek. Property owner, City of Oak Creek. Legal description there follows. Date of notice is May 7th, 2025.
Catherine, Christie?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the Common Council, Christy Lane, Community Development Director. The item before you for consideration this evening is to rezone a parcel that's owned by the city. The city purchased what was formerly known and often known as the Morja Farm parcel. It's approximately 23 acres in area, and it's abutting the Oakview Business Park. This site is zoned A1 Limited Agricultural District. The comprehensive plan does identify this parcel as being part of a business park. And in an effort to prepare the land for any sort of future development, the city as the applicant is proposing to rezone. So as you can see in the picture here, it's kind of an outlier. The area highlighted in purple is zoned manufacturing already. This one parcel is zoned limited agriculture, and the proposed rezone before you this evening is to rezone that one parcel manufacturing to match the abutting parcels in the business park next to it. And the Plan Commission did consider this request and recommended approval at their February 25th meeting. And that concludes my portion of the public hearing presentation.
Great, thank you, Christy. As this is a public hearing, I will make 3 calls. Anybody wishing to speak, please approach the podium. Wow, yeah, tongue-tied as well. The podium and give your name and address. This will be the first call. Second call, anybody wishing to speak on item 8? Third and final call. We'll now close the public hearing and move on to item 9, which is consideration of the ordinance rezoning the property at 10523 South Howell Avenue from A1 Limited Agriculture to M1 Manufacturing District. Council? Pretty straightforward on this one, I believe. So, okay, if there's no discussion, motion please.
Gail, move to rezone the property at 10523 South Howell Avenue from A1 Limited Agricultural District to M1 Manufacturing District.
Marshall will second.
Roll call.
Alderwoman Marshall. Aye. Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas. Aye. Lorick.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
And item 10 is also a public hearing, and it's consideration of a request to amend the existing Oakview Business Park Plan Unit Development, PUD, by adding the property at 10523 South Howell Avenue. Catherine?
Public hearing number 2 is to review a request to amend the existing Oakview Business Park planned unit development by adding the property at 10523 South Howell Avenue. Applicant is City of Oak Creek, property owner, City of Oak Creek. There follows the legal description of the PUD. Date of notice, May 7th, 2025.
Christie?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the Common Council. Christy Lane, Community Development Director. We are discussing the exact same parcel as was just previously mentioned in the last public hearing item. Again, in an effort to prepare land for future development, we are proposing to amend the PUD map. The city established the Oakview Business Park and rezoned the swath of land and established a PUD overlay for the business park in 2013. So this was the map that was established in 2013. Kind of in today's viewpoint, it does leave out that one parcel, the former Morja Farm parcel at 10523 South Howell Avenue. The proposal is to include this parcel, so the new PUD overlay would include the approximately 23 acres of land that the city owns. The Plan Commission recommended approval at their February 25th meeting. And that concludes my portion of the public hearing presentation.
All right, thank you, Christie. Once again, anybody wishing to speak, please approach the podium. We will need your name and address. This is the first call on item 10. Second call on item 10. Third and final call. We'll now close the public hearing and move on to item 11, which is consideration of the ordinance amending the existing Oakview Business Park Plan Unit Development by adding the property at 10532 South Howell Avenue. Council? Questions? Hearing no questions or discussion, motion on 11, please.
Gail, move to approve ordinance 3126, amending the existing Oakview Business Park Plan Unit Development by adding the property at 10523 South Howell Avenue.
Marshall will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas. Aye. Lorick.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall. Aye.
And item 12 is consideration of a resolution approving the addition of land to the Oakview Business Park Declaration of Development Standards and Protective Covenants. I'm going to ask Attorney Carls to cover that.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. The next 2 items are related to the last 4 items. So we'll see if you have questions on these 2. And at the end of the day, this is cleaning up some title issues, and this item in particular, item 12, is literally that, adding the land to the Oakview Business Park that wasn't already a part of the business park. The council will recall that we purchased the northerly parcel at 10304 South Howell Avenue in 2022, and then in December of 2024, we purchased, 10304 South Oakview Parkway. And then in December, we purchased 10523 South Howell. So that's the property that was not in the business park. That's the property that we've been talking about in terms of the substantive pieces just heard for the public hearings and the recent ordinances. So there are a number of pages to this agreement, but at the end of the day, that's the crux of it. We are pulling this in, and I would just point out that there is an association. We are already a part of the association with our northerly parcel. This next parcel is also going to be pulled in. There's some other pieces in this agreement that really speak to efficiency in reviewing any entitlements, any approvals for these next two parcels that are really two of the last lots in the business park to be developed. So the city is going to retain an over 8-acre parcel, and then the property that's going to be part of the future CSM for development under our purchase and sale agreement is just over 31 acres. So some of the pieces that would come before the Plan Commission for site plan approvals and things of that nature will be expedited, as in paragraph 4 of this agreement. We've had a lot of conversation with the association representatives and then counsel for the developer. So we really just tried to be efficient in terms of what's coming next. And that's it. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions from Melissa? Anybody? Okay, seeing none, motion on 12.
Bill move to approve resolution 12590-060325, approving the addition of land to Oakview Business Park Declaration of Developmental Standards and Protective Covenants.
Marshall, second.
Roll call?
Alderman Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Lorik.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall. Aye. Gale.
Aye.
And item 13 is consideration of a resolution approving the termination of the encroachment agreements.
Thank you, Mayor. I can take this one as well. This is even shorter. In terms of reviewing title in anticipation of consummating this transaction, we believe or anticipate a closing will occur before the end of the calendar year. But in any event, on title are a couple of agreements that related to some prior owners' fence agreements and some encroachment pieces. So we really, as the owner of both of these properties now, those agreements are essentially null and void, but we need to make sure that we record those pieces on title. So this is a cleanup. Happy to answer any questions in that regard.
Anything? Okay, motion on 13.
Bill moves to approve resolution 12591-060325, approving the termination of encroachment agreements.
Marshall, second.
Roll call?
Alderwoman Haas.
Aye.
Lorik.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall. Aye. Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
And item 14 is under new business, and it's consideration of a motion to approve an agreement between the City of Oak Creek and the Avonshine Park Beer Garden LLC, doing business as the Avonshine Beer Garden. Andrew?
Thank you, Mayor. Very happy to be here tonight. It's been a very long project. And I think with a couple things coming together really in the last year or two, we're happy to be discussing with the Common Council tonight an operating agreement really for a really cool beer garden amenity for the community of Oak Creek and our visitors. So it took a lot of persistence. Mayor Dan was very persistent with this. We had tried some other building concepts, some year-round concepts that really didn't make sense financially. But underpinning all of that were our willing partners, our vendors. You guys were kind of always lurking in the back, and you always kept this on the front of the city's mind. And we found a way with a new building concept to really have a viable product and a really awesome potential partner in our vendor. So before we get into the meat and potatoes, I suppose, of the actual agreement, if it pleases you, Mayor, if we could bring Mike and Tony up, have them introduce themselves to the council and the concept for the Avonshine Beer Garden.
It'd be wonderful. Welcome, guys.
Evening. First of all, we did not plan the outfits, just showed up, and that's what it was. So yeah, as Andrew mentioned.
Just very quickly, just
oh,
names for
name
the
and
record.
address, yeah.
You don't need the address.
Okay, Michael Grab.
Tony DeBartolo.
We had started this conversation about 4 years, I think it was COVID year, I think is when we started this. So it's been a long time running, and as Andrew mentioned, kept checking in. I'm also on the tourism board, and it was not my intent to join a board and then push my agenda, so I just kept it out of any conversation for about 3 years, and then touched base with Andrew again and just said, hey, kind of have this concept idea that we were going to utilize at another location, and didn't end up working out there, and felt that this would be a good fit from the original building that was designed, and much more affordable than that version, I would say. So,
We currently operate 2 beer gardens, the Pine Springs Beer Garden in Kenosha and the newly opened Bristol, Wisconsin, Hampton Park Beer Garden as well. So we're very familiar with the business plan and the model as well.
Any questions? Comments?
so yeah, we can just get a little video and then
Yeah.
leave it open for
If you have further questions. So do you guys see it on? You guys have questions, how things work, how we operate, anything like that? Happy to answer those for you.
Mike, would you mind talking a little bit about just your history at the Pet Springs Beer Garden and how that all came about and things you've maybe learned along the way and how that's been very evolutionary and iterative?
Yeah, absolutely. So, so this will be our 9th season there. We approached the county in Kenosha with an idea of having a beer garden there. Tony was from there. I had a business down there, so it just felt natural. Picked that location. Some fantastic parks in the area. So, and the park has come a long way also over those 9 years. So, there's been Pike River cleanup going on right now. Some contributions of what the beer garden takes in, that revenue share, is also going to contribute to that. When we first got there was no bathrooms at all. So we were using porta potties for the first 2 years, and figured that we better figure out something. It wasn't working. So then a couple city leaders and everything put together a plan for putting restrooms, first restrooms in the park system since 1923. We contributed a big chunk of money to that as well. And it's mainly about that revenue share and what it can do for the park system itself. Not specific to that park, but it goes into the park fund for Kenosha. When we started there, we started with 15 tables the first couple of weeks. Realized that this was not going to work either, so ordered another 15 tables now. I think we're over 150 tables now, featuring weekly events. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, I could. Yeah, so but like Andrew said, it's evolved over the years. What we've taken there and we've learned over the years, we've applied to the next concept that we have in Hanson and hope to apply to the concept here as well. It's more about efficiencies than anything. It was not a very efficient place. We didn't know things at the start. We took over a pavilion that had a small kitchen space. We had outdoor that. The pavilion is mainly used for storage now.
I think one big thing that, we're talking about what it took to build it out, right? not a place for people to come and hang out 4, 5, 6 hours. It's something for families to do, right? Mom and dad come, 3 little kids, they're all playing in the ball field and not on their cell phones or they're playing a video game while mom and dad are actually enjoying themselves on a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon. We built a community there over the last 9 years and a following of 25,000 strong on Facebook. And it's because we've invested into the community with the home center, job and a number of different vendor partners that we've worked with that are all local there. We moved ourselves into the community. We're starting to do the same thing already in Bristol. It's been a very short time there, but it's literally, people are so excited to have us within that community now. There's a massive park there, and I was there on Saturday evening, and I watched families just hanging out on the grass as their kids were playing and swinging on the swings and being kids, right? It's a safe environment for a family, and that's honestly what Mike and I want to bring to Oak Creek as well. It's what we've done very, very well in the past, and I think we're starting a good thing at Bristol with it as well. We want to bring the same type of environment forward.
So what attracted you, what do you see as, some of the magic in the Abendschein site that continued? I mean, you guys had other options. We did wade through some stuff and some tapping on the brakes and even full stops on this on the city side of things, so.
I think, although it's a smaller scale park, I think it is kind of petrifying, so we say pets. So, and just the locale, Drexel Avenue, obviously, you guys put a lot of work and effort into building a good area. But the community itself, I live here. We talk about it in the unfortunate leaving this community a lot to go and do other things, but we want those things here. So that's why we have to take a chance on something.
And if I can add to it, way back in 2018, we did our first pop-up beer garden at Abendschein. Time we had Kristen Kowalski, became Kristen Craig, and the poor girl was tasked with pulling it together, and it was really strategic on why we were doing it. We actually wanted to see if we had a market the community would take to it. And we were very successful, and we pulled them off, and we've been doing some pop-ups over the course of a number of years here at not only Abendschein, but Drexel Town Square. But we knew we had to find some partnerships going forward. And when we identified Mike and Tony, we went down. Staff did go down to Petrified Springs and take a look at it and see where it would possibly fit in the city of Oak Creek. And it has been kind of a long journey, but I really think it's going to be worth a wait. You can see by the renditions of what we're looking to accomplish there. And as they said, this isn't a place to just hang out all night and drink and listen to loud music. It's a family setting down there. And you'll see it as they start up here in Oak Creek. It's going to be a wonderful addition to the city, and I really think the public's going to really enjoy it going forward. And the improvements that went on in Abendschein, parking lot and everything, strategic as well, because we knew we had to activate that park in a different manner from Lake Vista. So, excellent kind of center of the city, and yet it'll still serve neighborhoods just the same. So, can't be happier, guys, that you hung with us, and know it took some time, but.
One question for you guys. So you've been down at Petrifying Springs for 9 years. You just opened Bristol, and you want to open this one. What's kind of your game plan to make sure you don't get spread too thin and make sure you're building that same environment here? Given that you went from 1 to 2 and 2 to 3 this quick.
We have, so our staff is pretty unique, right? We're a seasonal business, so we don't have anybody around. People that we do have been with us for a very long time. Most of our staff is either college kids that started with us in high school, that have run the whole 9 years with us, or teachers. College teachers, high high school teachers, local teachers, right? And we've identified a few of these people to become managers for us, and they're willing to. We've had these conversations behind the scenes already. We know going from 1 to 3 over a 2-year span is going to take us, right? We need help. We've got a gentleman who is a coach at Carthage College. He's been with us since day one, literally since we opened the door. Fantastic individual, and he's willing to step up and be one of our managers to help us. We've got a game plan around that.
Other questions, comments? Greg?
So I've been to the one in Kenosha a few times. Definitely is a hit. And reiterating what the mayor said, it is very family friendly. We took our kids there. There was a movie showing, so it was definitely a fun event. Just one question on the agreement here. It mentions a certain number of sales from private space rental, i.e. the rooftop. Is that, there's nothing in here about cost of that. Is that going to be kept in line with other public park rental facilities, or is that going to be a much higher cost due to where it is? Is
Yeah,
there
I
any-
mean, I think during the week and everything, unless it's like, corporate events or something like that, we really haven't factored in those. Obviously, enough to cover our costs and things like that, but I don't think compared to other things that we do, using,
Okay, but that would be something, somebody's privately renting it through you guys to help facilitate things. It's not like an empty pavilion.
No, and so the way we operate at the other parks, because it is a public space, we do not do anything private. So, say we have, somebody wants to rent that space up there, people from the public would still have access to utilize that space during that time. So, if you've seen like some of the pictures, and I don't know if any of those were shared, but it's a pretty massive top space there, so you can have an event on half of it, and then open
Okay.
on the other half.
Okay.
Yeah, I can close on, I think we all agree, and Mike glossed over this a little bit. Mike's also a resident, so that's an added bonus. But we see that we're not that capture. We're not having that capture, and let alone this is just a really cool social amenity, a recreational amenity for our community and for our visitors. We're really excited about opportunities for jointly programming that space with our marketing and PR department and our events staff. It's just kind of pouring, fuel on either fire here. So really excited about that. And we know this is going to be relational, and we have to problem solve out here. There's going to be things that this agreement doesn't cover. But this is the transactional part, is the deal terms. So I just touch on those real briefly. There's an initial term of 5 years with 2-year renewal terms, subject to common council approval. That was a misnomer in the staff report. It's 5 years in the agreement. My apologies on that. Mike and Tony will provide an initial investment of $200,000 to take the shell of the space that we provide and really build out the beer garden space and concept. So a significant investment and really skin in the game. From the city's benefit to the city's perspective is really a revenue sharing provision in this agreement, which is similar to those they've used in the other communities that they work in, where the city is compensated 15% of the net sales of the operations as it's further defined in the agreement. Really conservatively, we put that in print that would be roughly $40,000 to $60,000 a year. We think really the sky is the limit on the popularity of this venue. And the provisions can be terminated by the city if responsibilities are not met, right? So we will problem solve. We will work together for activating the space even above your offerings and calendar throughout the week. We think we have a really good agreement, if you look at that revenue sharing and you think if it's a 4 or 5 month venue, you know, that's a nice chunk of rent, you know, that they're paying to use the space and help us kind of co-locate this recreational amenity. So with that said, I'll be happy to answer, or Melissa, Attorney Carls would be happy to answer any questions on the agreement.
Council? Good. There's no further discussion. Motion?
Haas moves to approve an agreement between the City of Oak Creek and Aventine Park Beer Garden LLC,
Lork seconds.
Roll call?
Alderman Lorik.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall. Aye. Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Come on.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, guys. As I said, I think the community is really gonna enjoy it.
Very excited.
Great, thank you. Item 15 is consideration of a resolution approving an access easement agreement with CR Oak Creek Land LLC. You got a big rush on you.
I'm happy to take it. Thank you. This is an exciting item for the council. I know. This has been actually a matter that has also been long in the making, not as exciting as our beer garden perhaps, but there was a land dedication that you may recall from some time ago. This is regarding Heyday. So it's all in the council report, but at the end of the day, this is another reason sometimes why people don't like lawyers. We had a CSM that reflected an access easement. If the property ever developed further, the easement was for our purposes, and so the concern was that we would want to have a standalone document that would show up on title. So this is that standalone document. So with the developers, their counsel, and effort definitely from engineering and planning over the past many months in terms of the development itself and ensuring that this is on title, we needed to have a correction to the CSM, and this is a result of the next step to get this document recorded, and then we will have ultimately that lot finally dedicated to the city. So that was long ago approved, and this is just an interim step. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Anything? Okay, seeing none, motion?
We'll move to approve resolution 12589-060325, approving the access easement agreement with CR Oak Creek Land LLC.
Roll call?
Alderman Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall. Aye. Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas. Lorik.
Aye. And item 16 is consideration of a motion to concur with the mayor's reappointments as follows and a new appointment. Item A is for the library board, 3-year term, expiring in 6/28 for Sharon Armstrong and Jill Meyer. Those are reappointments. And B is for Parks and Rec Commission, fill a 3-year vacancy ending 4/26, James Pulliam of 1957 West Creekside Crossing Circle. Any questions, comments on that? I'm sure the applications are within the packet. There's no discussion, questions, motion.
I'll move to concur with the mayor's appointments or reappointments as listed.
Marshall second.
Roll call?
Alderwoman Marshall. Aye. Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas. Lorik.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
And item 17 is for fire, and it's consideration of a resolution approving amendment number 5 to the intergovernmental agreement for emergency medical services with Milwaukee County. Chief Kresick?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Mike Kresick, Fire Chief. Tonight, requesting your consideration to approve a resolution authorizing amendment number 5 to the existing Milwaukee County EMS contract. This amendment identifies the funding, outlines the funding parameters associated with mobile integrated healthcare and community paramedicine services. A little bit of background, very quickly. Back in '21, with the department's strategic plan, we began to explore the addition of a mobile integrated healthcare community paramedicine program within the city of Oak Creek with the goal of improving the quality of life for our citizens by addressing certain medical conditions or conditions of daily living. Over time, we realized that that program was going to require some funding to fully implement. Last year, we were afforded the opportunity to receive grant funding through OEM that would help support our program and allow us to dedicate staff to perform services within the community. After first meeting with city administration, then the Personnel and Finance Committee, and eventually the council, our program always was buffered by the fact that this grant funding would support our operations. The amendment in front of you this evening outlines how that funding would be requested for our reimbursement of services, as well as the total amount available. I'd be happy to answer any questions related to this.
Questions for Chief Krasik? I don't think so. Mike, how often do we redo this contract?
So I should touch briefly on this. This is amendment number 5. We have an existing EMS contract with OEM Medical Division for the provision of EMS within our community. Specifically relates to an annual stipend for paramedic services. This amendment was the smoothest way to integrate the funding into our operations. So that paramedic contract is typically reviewed on some cycle, a 3 to 5 year window, depending on what the mayors agree, certainly for the extension with it. This particular agreement would be, the funding is immediately identified through the end of '26. So we would anticipate that any additional funding sources or the extension of that funding past that date would require another amendment.
Yeah. Other questions for Chief? Okay, seeing none, motion.
Clerk moves to adopt resolution number 12588-060325, approving amendment number 5 to the intergovernmental agreement for emergency medical services with Milwaukee County.
Wetzel, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas. Lorick.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall. Aye.
Item 18 is Public Works and Utility, and it's consideration of a resolution approving the conveyance of rights in land agreement, quick claim deed by the utility, a statement of non-reimbursement by the utility for public sanitary sewer easements with the state of Wisconsin Department of Transportation at the intersection of State Highway 100, East Ryan Road, and South Shepherd Avenue, and it is subject to technical corrections. Got that one, Matt.
Sure, I'll take this one. Matt
Or were you
Sullivan,
taking
Assistant City Administrator and City Engineer. This is not uncommon. So when the Department of Transportation does improvements, especially at intersections where they need to widen that intersection for utility reasons, primarily signals, and there are easements within the area that they're purchasing, they ask us to relinquish those rights. So it's pretty, it's pretty common practice. Speaking and talking with Mike Sullivan, the general manager, and Brian Johnson, who's our utility engineer, they had no concerns in regards to relinquishing those rights in regards to this request from the department. I'll try to answer any questions, but that's the background on it, and that's what I know at this point.
Thank you, Matt. Anything to add, Melissa? Okay. Any questions regarding this? Okay. Seeing none, motion.
Fritz moves to adopt resolution number 12580-060325, approving a conveyance of rights and land agreement, quitclaim deed by utility, and statement of non-reimbursement by utility for public sanitary sewer easement with the State of Wisconsin Department of Transportation at the intersection of South 100th East Ryan Road and South Shepherd Avenue, subject to technical corrections.
Clerk seconds.
Roll call.
Alderman Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas. Lorick.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall. Aye. Gale.
Aye.
And 19 is engineering, and its consideration of a resolution approving the stormwater management practices maintenance agreement with TNT Express Inc. for the parking lot expansion at 9810 and 9880 South Ridgeview Drive. Matt.
Thank you, Mayor. Matt Sullivan, Assistant City Administrator and City Engineer. Before you is that resolution for the stormwater maintenance agreement. Very straightforward, very common on any development that we do within the city. They are proposing to install a stormwater management pond on their properties. Several properties were combined at once, and this kind of triggered that. But I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Questions for Matt? So Matt, just real briefly, I know we're going around looking at a lot of ponds in Creek. These agreements cover maintenance of those, obviously. How often are they inspected and then enforced to make sure they're not building up silt?
So that's a good question. Yes, this does give us the opportunity to go in and inspect these ponds. They're required within this to provide their maintenance and their inspections to us annually. This practice has probably not been very thoroughly vetted, I guess, in regards to the previous staff. We do have plans in place with our new staff, and actually we've already begun to reach out to several entities that have maintenance agreements to continue this process, and we are also working with the DNR. But yeah, this does basically allow us to go in and do our own inspections if required, but this does require them to do it annually. We go in every 5 years is the maximum, but we can go in two or three. Pretty standard.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Not motion?
Bill moves to approve resolution 12587-0600325, approving a stormwater management practices maintenance agreement with TNT Express Inc. for the parking lot expansion on 9810 and 9880 South Ridgeview Drive.
Marshall, second.
Roll call?
Alderwoman Haas. Lorick.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall. Aye. Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye. And 20 is community development. Consideration of a resolution approving a certified survey map to combine the properties at 7228 South 27th Street and 7236 South 27th Street. Christie?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the Common Council. Christy Lane, Community Development Director. This item before you is a certified survey map regarding the Divine Bar property on 27th Street. It's recently been purchased by the owner and operator of Mimosa in Franklin and Brookfield. And this item was before the Plan Commission at their May 27th meeting. So the new owner is putting a substantial amount of investment into this property. And when we were going through the review, we realized, as you can see here in the aerial photo, that it's actually two parcels split the building. Ironically, and so that he's making site improvements and building improvements. You should not have a lot lying through the middle of a building. So we asked him to move forward with a certified survey map to combine them and basically erase the lot line in the middle. And just an FYI, this is the substantial investment in the new rendering of what the building will look like. So he's definitely invested in the community. He leases his building in Franklin, and as I mentioned, he is the owner of this parcel as well. And then just a little side note, Milwaukee County Economic Development Department has been offering and promoting. They have 20 $10,000 grants available for economic development, and they reached out to me, and then I reached out to this new owner, and I did talk to the director of Milwaukee County's ED department, and we both think this is a perfect business opportunity for that type of grant. And he actually emailed me yesterday, and he did apply. So that'd be a great opportunity for $10,000 grants to help. This is a lot of money. New windows, as you can see, new facades. So he's anxious to move forward and be a part of the Oak Creek community.
Christie? Questions? Certified survey.
Can I ask a different question? Do you know when they're planning to open, what their anticipated date is?
I don't, sooner rather than later. I'm not quite, he's got a lot of work to do. He wants to open this year. Pretty optimistic. I'm not quite sure, but he's anxious to move forward.
Thank you.
There's no further questions. Motion?
Clerk moves to adopt resolution number 12586-060325, a resolution approving a certified survey map to combine the properties at 7228 South 27th Street and 7236 South 27th Street.
Ritz, go ahead.
Roll call?
Alderman Lorik.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas.
And items 21 and 22 are with the License Committee. I'll turn that over to Alderman Ritz.
Okay, included in your packet is item number 21, which is a list of licensings to be granted. Please look it over, and if you have any questions. If not, Ritz will move to approve the various license requests as listed on 6/3/25, Report A License Committee.
Lork seconds.
Roll call?
Alderman Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski. Haas.
Aye.
Lorik.
Aye.
Okay. And we have a second common council grant for renewal of alcohol beverage license. I guess this is the standard annual. So Ritz will move to grant the 2025-2026 renewal business alcohol license request as listed on the 6/3/25 Report B License Committee report with issuance and release of license, subject to final department inspection approvals and payment of any fees or obligations.
Lork seconds.
Roll call?
Alderwoman Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas. Lorik.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
And item 23 is consideration of a motion to approve the May 28th, 2025 vendor summary report in the amount of $399,031.69. Your report is in your packet. Please review it, and if there's any questions, just take the floor, please. There are no questions or discussion. Motion?
Marshall will move to approve the May 28th, 2025 vendor summary report in the amount of $399,031.69.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call?
Alderman Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas. Lorik.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
And item 24 is consideration of a motion to convene into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute, Section 19.85, Sub 1, Sub E, to consider a proposed development and potential terms that may include the investment of public funds on the property at 7761 South Highgate Avenue. President Gale.
Thank you, Mayor. Gale moves to convene into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute, Section 19.85, Sub 1, Sub E, to consider a proposed development and potential terms that may include the investment of public funds on the property located at 7761 South Highgate Avenue.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas. Lorik.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
We will now convene into closed session, and we will return at its conclusion. We will now consider a motion to reconvene in open session.
Gale moves to reconvene in open session.
Marshall seconds.
Roll call.
Alderwoman Haas. Lorik.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
And item 26 is consideration to take action if required. None is required, so that can move us right to adjournment.
Ritz will move to adjourn.
Roll call.
Alderman Lorik.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas.
Great. Thank you all. Have a wonderful week, and thank you for tuning in.